In this video, we're talking about fiscal policy and does it help unemployment or does it actually cause unemployment? And we're going to use a logical argument which is irrefutable. Sometimes empirical studies will show one way or the other, but logical arguments, if they're drawn to the corrosive conclusion, you can see that you must yield to the argument. It's either right or it's wrong. So let's see what the argument is. The idea of fiscal stimulus creating jobs or in some way helping unemployment. And I'm going to demonstrate why that is incorrect. Let's say you have two people. This guy's name is, let's say, Dimitri, and he's a civil engineer. He's an engineer, highly trained, has gone to school for a long time. This lady is named Katya, and let's say she's a waitress. She's working somewhere and she's either unemployed or underemployed because of the economic situation. Now, let's say she's unemployed. Her restaurant closed and she's unemployed. She doesn't have a job. So the fiscal stimulus is to create jobs. But who are they creating jobs for? Let's say the fiscal stimulus is making sewers, upgrading sewers in New Jersey. The good people of New Jersey need more sewers. So Dimitri is currently employed because he has great skills in Florida, either, let's say, building a shelter for the homeless or even low income housing in Florida. And people are paying him to do that. Now you have a fiscal stimulus and it's building sewers or upgrading sewers in New Jersey. They're not going to hire the under or unemployed Katya because she doesn't have the skills. People are not interchangeable Lego people as inputs. Job employers are always looking for specific skills. They're going to hire a guy like Dimitri who's already gainfully employed in the private sector, and they're going to bring him up to New Jersey and pay him more. So this creates unemployment still for Katya and a greater economic well-being for somebody who's already employed. So this non-neutrality of money always benefits, any kind of fiscal stimulus benefits those who are already empowered. It seems like on a stroke of a pen that it will increase jobs, but it actually puts an anchor around the economy, a weight, because it has to be paid for, usually through debt financing. And debt creates a burden on future generations. It can create a crowding out effect of scarce resources. And at the very least, it can cause inflation, which is basically a tax on the poor and the middle class, because the wealthy aren't affected by increases in price as much as the poor are. So does fiscal stimulus create jobs, or does it increase unemployment? Well, if you look at the Great Depression or the Great Recession, there's an argument with empirical studies to back it up that show that it prolonged the Great Recession and prolonged the Great Depression. Fiscal stimulus, and in this very simple model, Dimitri flies up from Florida, where he's already gainfully employed, but seeks a better job because he has the specific skill set needed in civil engineering. Whereas Katya, let's say she's a underemployed single mom or a single mom who needs to get a job, is unemployed, is not going to benefit from that. And as prices rise, Dimitri can write the check. But Katya is even in more dire situations. So the question is, do you want plans by the many, which means let the consumer utility, let consumers' demand drive projects, and each person decides what they want and demand and let the market supply it? Or do you want plans by the few? That means a stroke of a pen by a top-down politician. And that is an economic argument that is irrefutable against fiscal policy. Scarce resources are drawn from the private sector where they're gainfully employed and consumed by the public sector. Now let's take the extreme. Let's say in the Soviet Union, 100% was in the public sector. They employed everybody. It's no coincidence I used Russian or Soviet names here, because the Soviet Union I know intimately, and I've studied this. My family is from Eastern Europe. In the Soviet Union, everything was a fiscal stimulus and a public project. Everybody was employed, but the standard of living went down, 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 down. Whereas in countries which have generally free markets and steer away from stimulus that tries to help unemployment, unemployment goes down, prosperity goes up. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to take Dimitri away from creating homeless shelters and low-income housing and work on sewers in New Jersey and have Katya still unemployed? Just think about the Soviet Union, and that's your answer. Fiscal stimulus creates unemployment. The Keynesian arguments are incorrect. They're diametrically incorrect. And the free market logical arguments of the Austrian economist win out. Thank you very much.